Hello, everyone. Welcome in the green room. Today we have a few of our classic guests, and we're going to have a great time. We've got Martin and Richard coming back, and we're drinking some wine. We're going to play some tunes. It's going to be a good time.
Cheers. Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
Cheers, everybody. This wine, we've already been tasting the wine. It is lovely wine. All right, I hate to jump right into it, but what is it?
Okay, this is our wine of the week, a new feature.
A new feature.
Wine
of the week.
Right? So for this wine, I've strayed out of Arizona, which is, we feature a lot here.
It's rare for you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and we feature local because
Yes.
this is a show about sustainability and
That's
saving the
right.
planet.
One show at a time.
Oh.
Where does this wine hail
So
from?
this is one of my other favorite regions. From California. It's the Santa Barbara region.
So still somewhat local.
I had the good
6
fortune
hours, right? 6 hours
to
away?
have lived in Santa Barbara in the early 90s. And I ran a wine bar there called the Wine Connection,
Very
right
cool.
in the downtown Santa Barbara. And
Santa Barbara's gorgeous.
Even in the early 90s, the Santa Barbara wine industry was thriving, and really a lot of interesting people, and it's still thriving today, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a wonderful time that I remember. I have a lot of good memories and remember quite fondly. So this particular wine is called Curran.
Curran. Curran is delicious.
Curran, and this is a Grenache green. Now, Curran, these are Santa Barbara royalty. Chris Curran and her husband Bruno De Alfonso, and they go back to the early '90s. And they have three labels now. The Alfonso Curran label.
Have you met them?
I have. Many years
nice.
ago.
Okay.
That's the Alfonso Curran label, which is they're labeled together. They're a married couple. Then they have the Curran label, which is Chris's label. Then the Bruno De Alfonso label too. So
the
which
wine
is called De Bruno.
is
So let me talk
spectacular.
about this grape. Here's an interesting thing. So this is called Grenache Gris.
Grenache
Gris
Gris.
basically translates as gray. Okay.
Do we say
So,
gris?
Gris.
Gris.
Or in français.
Roll your R's.
Can we hear it?
Well, actually,
Grenache Gris.
Garnacha is a very Garnacha in Espanol in Spain is a very, very popular grape. One of the most popular grapes in Spain, as well as southern France, which is called Grenache. But Garnacha, you would certainly in Spain you roll your R, so it'd be Gris. En français, it would be Gris. In the throat, yes. But anyway, so you have the same type of grapes like Pinot Noir. That's Pinot Noir, dark, right? You have also Pinot Blanc,
Right.
and also Pinot Gris. The Blanc and Gris are different types of the same grape. They're basically, okay? Now, in the case of Grenache, you have Grenache Rouge, Grenache Noir. You've got Grenache Blanc, and you have Grenache Gris. So the Gris refers to the color of the skins of the grape. So white grapes usually have very little pigment in them. Gray, what they call gray, actually can have a grayish pink tinge to them. So you get, when you macerate the grapes and ferment them, crush them, you get skin contact, which gives you the color. So that's a very nice pale salmon color.
Yeah, it's nice and dry,
Yeah.
and I especially like Grenache. We have a friend that makes Grenache Syrah Vedra.
Yes,
and that's a
GSM, classic,
GSM,
yeah.
very classic. And this type of grape just adds so much depth.
Yeah.
And then you take all the sugars out.
Yeah.
And man, this would be amazing with like a spicy
Yes.
fish
Yep.
or
A salmon. I think it'd be great with a
salmon,
salmon.
Sure,
butter,
absolutely, yeah.
lemon butter,
Yeah.
garlic
So,
salmon. This would be amazing.
Can I say what I
It's
taste?
the right
though?
level of sweet. It's
I
not too
taste
sweet.
strawberry. I taste raspberries. And I taste a little bit of mint.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And honeysuckle.
Good, lovely. Where'd you get that?
Sounds like you're just making things up. Mint? Mint
Yes,
and berries?
yes.
Whatever you taste, you
Yes,
taste.
that's what I taste.
I
Mint?
taste-
No, I can't even
I
try to
taste a
imagine
hint of
tasting mint.
brick and maybe some linoleum.
Some shula, huh?
I
So-
taste.
Actually, shoe leather is an actual wine taste.
Actually,
Oh my god.
No,
here's an
seriously.
interesting. This is a real wine smell. Struck flint.
Oh yeah, that's a smell.
Right.
I have smelled that
Right.
smell. Yes.
Yeah.
Do we call it a smell or a
match.
scent?
An
Is
aroma.
it a smell?
The aroma. I
An
like aroma.
I think
Yeah, that sounds the
there's
most
some
classic.
to me,
technical-
smell is funnier. But
There's some
you say
technical-
potato, I say tuber.
Yeah. There
Whatever.
are some technical ways to say it, but who cares, But it's interesting. So the Grenache Gris grape is pretty rare. You see it in southern France in a few places. They make a few wines, and then. But this woman, Chris Caran, she was really responsible back like in 2003 to bringing Grenache Blanc into favor. The first one to kind of produce it in California. I think she may be one of the only ones producing a Grenache Gris. And I love it.
So, Richard, I have a question.
very
How
good.
is this
Delicious.
wine sustainable? Because I know we're featuring it because it's very sustainable.
Well, when you talk about sustainability, it comes down to the vineyard. Now, here's a case where these two amazing world-class winemakers, and they have all kinds of accolades, they concentrate on the winemaking, and they say, we leave the viticulture to the experts. So they have vineyards, they have very close associations with vineyards all around Santa Barbara that they work with exclusively. And certainly these vineyards are all sustainable in that they don't use chemicals.
So they're eco-friendly,
they're
no chemicals, no
eco-friendly.
pesticides.
If not altogether, some of them may be actually altogether organic.
Organic. Okay.
Well, probably better than organic, because even organic means that there's certain chemicals they can use. Most of these type of winemakers that I'm familiar with are beyond organic. I mean, they don't use any type of pesticides. Even in organics, you can use pesticides. They also use a dry farming technique so they can get this kind of flavor. And so after 3 years, the vines don't get watered. They have to survive on their own based on the climate.
Vines have to be well established
Yeah.
before you can do dry farming.
Yeah.
Well established, and 3 years is basic minimum, and
Right.
that would depend on the conditions and soil, et cetera, et cetera. And organic farming does use some sprays, but they're organic sprays. If you're certified organic, you can't use any artificial chemicals. It's all natural stuff. And biodynamic goes a step further because everything in biodynamic happens, in that biosphere that you've created.
Right.
Everything comes from that.
Yep.
It's interesting. So
It's-
these are sustainable wines because the vineyards that they work with farm sustainably. Really
It's
that
also
simple.
sustainable because while it's from California, that's still somewhat locally sourced compared
Exactly.
to getting wine from France or Argentina or something.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's still regional,
Bingo.
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's a 6-hour,
Exactly.
truck ride
Yeah.
versus,
That is
buying
very
something
sustainable.
from.
Although,
yeah, it's very
I
I consider
Thousands
that
of
local.
miles away.
I
yeah.
do drink a lot of European wines. Here's another thing about
Richard has a
about-
taste for the finer things.
But right
Well, I
now,
have a taste for good wine. Now, here's an interesting thing about rosé, though. Most rosés, when they pick the grapes for rosés, they're going to pick a little earlier. They don't want high sugar content when those grapes are harvested because they want a rosé that is crisp and refreshing. So you don't want residuals. You don't want high sugar content to start with. So the resulting alcohol, and this is about just a little over 13%.
oh, not very much.
And many rosés are 12 to 12.5%. From like Provence in France. So that's why rosés are they're just delightful wines and great food wines. This is
It would be
know,
amazing.
I think it's
one
so
of the
delicious.
things about rosé is that it's so versatile in food pairing.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you're going to someone's house for dinner, you know what they're serving, just bring a rosé.
Right.
It goes
Right.
with everything.
A dry rosé.
But
Not-
Richard,
not
is
the
it
sweet
wrong
ones, not
to
like
say
barefoot.
Yeah.
I said I
Ew.
taste strawberry,
There
raspberries?
is no wrong. What you taste,
that right?
you
It's what you
taste.
taste.
That's what
it's
I
a totally
taste.
subjective
See, Chad?
experience.
You went through your list of things. You said mint. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
mint.
yeah.
I
It
taste
is.
mint. Do you taste any mint?
It is.
You have a piece of
very-
gum in your mouth?
Oh, it's double mint.
That's right.
Hello. It's double mint gum.
Oh, yes. On that note, could we hear a song about sustainable wines?
Make it up.
A
Yeah, there we
song
go.
about sustainable. All right. Let's
And
see
we're,
what
and
you
we're
got.
doing a show about no days off with loving people and forgiveness and being sustainable and no days off caring about the planet.
All right.
No days off.
Let's see what we got here.
I'm a G.
Well, I work all day in the field. Come home late at night for a meal. Dressed off in overalls is not fine. But you'll like me 'cause I make wine.
Yeah.
I'm a winemaker
I'm a winemaker.
who likes good wine.
Likes good wine.
I don't want that stuff in the store
No.
that tastes like swine filled.
swine
Whatever
with
that
my wine.
is, I don't want it. It's not good enough for me and my classy tastes.
My classy taste.
My classy tastes.
Never go to waste.
They don't go to waste.
My classy taste.
My classy taste.
Don't go to waste.
Don't go to waste.
My classy taste.
My classy taste.
Never
won't
go to waste.
Won't go to waste.
Oh, this
my
wine is
classy
so
taste.
fine. Oh, this wine is so fine.
Now
That was awesome.
Is the magic of the language of music. That just right then we could tell a silly story.
In the language of wine.
Well, it's just
Language
crazy.
of wine.
Your level of improvisational skill is just amazing.
Hey, I just
And
follow what's
Richard.
in front of me, man.
Yeah, but with a amazing flow.
And it's
So
comedy.
here's
It's comedy. We're
We're
laughing.
But here's a secret. If you're interested in a secret for improv and a secret for life, there's a few rules that we have to follow in improv.
Oh, really?
And it is the same in life. So yes, and is a very well-known rule in improv. And if someone has an idea on stage, you don't say no, but you say yes, and and that works in life too. If you're in a conversation with someone. And it's very easy what the kids call negging. But yeah, you neg somebody because you say no to something even though you were just trying to add information. So if you say, why, yes, that's a great idea, and we could do this as well, or on top of that, rather than negating what that person just said. And that's it's subtle, but it makes a huge difference on stage because it allows the scene to move forward.
It's kind of like a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between yes, but and yes,
And.
Like, for example, I
Even
could
if
say,
you go, yes, and we're going to do something else.
So I could say, yes, Chet, your
works.
side view looks really good on video, and I like your front view, your facial features from the front view.
Exactly.
Do you see what I'm
Exactly
saying?
Sounds like you
right.
kinda
both
have it. I
things,
don't know.
both things
Maybe a
are
little
true
bit.
at the same. Can be true at the same time.
and
you guys-
allows for infinite possibilities.
Exactly, and it's also so
Oh
the
my goodness.
second important improv rule is listening, and not just listening, but what I call hyper listening. So when I had my eyes closed and Richard was playing the guitar, and he started repeating a line that I had said earlier. So then I repeated, but the way that he was doing it. So I was even though I was singing, I was still listening to what was
right.
going on and riffing or
Yeah.
adding to yes and.
You know, I love this because no
And then your
is so
flow
no.
was meshing better because of that.
And-
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yes is more fun.
Oh, exactly.
Yes is always more
Yes
fun.
is always more fun, but no is less work. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Yes is more fun.
Yes is all inclusive.
And how do people find
Exactly.
you? Yes, it's more fun.
Yesismorefun.com.
And Martin Einer.
Martin's method. Martin's motto.
Yes, and Martin Einer is my
love it.
love coach, my relationship coach.
I'm a business
My
coach.
sex
I coach
coach.
executives. Work out of a
He's a
group.
coach
out of,
coach.
Yeah,
He's a
coach
coach
Coaches.
And I have coaches for myself.
Yeah.
And it's if any of you are struggling out there, get a coach. Doesn't have to be me. Just get
It should
one.
be. It should
I
be
love
Martin.
that
It
concept.
should be Martin.
I really do.
We touched
And
on
I
this
think
last
that's
show
very
how important a mentor can be
Yeah.
to make you
It
grow.
absolutely
That's
is.
right.
yourself, yeah.
And the teacher will appear
Yes.
once the student is ready, right? And it's the job of the student to be ready. And it took me a long dang time to find my mentors, but once I did, wow, it just catapulted me into a whole different dimension. And that's what I love about coaching. That's what I love about music, because music can catapult you into another dimension. With even just a riff in the background, you can be teleported back to a time, or even an improvised song. You can come up with your own. Now, I've been in theaters with 200 people and improvised a song with everybody in the theater before, and that has this amazing energy and power. And that's the beauty of what we're talking about here, is that power of yes and. Is as soon as you
The
say no,
positivity
but
of yes and.
yeah, as soon
I
as
don't
you
like
say-
the no answer.
Yeah,
I want
No,
yes.
you want
Yes
yes.
is more fun.
Yeah,
I want
right.
yes. And no days off. Chet mentioned no days off last show, and I think I'm really rolling with that because no days off of kindness, no days off of exercise, no days
Gratitude.
off of gratitude, no days off of sex and love, no days off of forgiveness.
Right.
Chet, can you add to this? Since
Well, yeah, I mean, I
No
thought
days
or-
off of wine either.
I initially thought of the idea for working out because I just noticed myself catching into bad habits. I just take one day off of working out, and then all of a sudden it turned into 4. And I'm like, oh, now my back hurts. So I was like, wait, if I just start doing no days off, workout every single day, I'll start feeling amazing, and I feel amazing. Like
Yep.
it's 100%
Makes a
working. But
difference.
now I'm starting to carry that into other things, like what you were saying. As far as being having gratitude, being kind, having fun every day is really important. Learning every day. So I think no days off is a good motto, because I don't know. There's this weird thing in our culture. Everybody's trying to get a day off. It's like, why do you want to do nothing? Yeah, we should. You want to do something, have an adventure, learn something. You know what I mean? So, even if it's a relaxing day, you can still go do a 10-minute plank and read half a book, and you still learn something and you worked out. So,
What's the longest plank you ever did?
okay, probably 10 minutes, because it's actually
10 minutes?
Yeah, so I love
In one position?
Yeah. So I call it the Kashmir Challenge. Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, one of the most
Yeah.
epic songs of all
Yeah.
time.
Hello.
So
It's
you have
my
to-
favorite song.
You have to plank to that the whole time. But if you are not able to hold in one position, you can switch to side planks.
Okay.
But you have
I've
to
done that.
hold. You can't hold any position for less than 45 seconds. So you can go
That's a
basically
challenge.
45 side, 45 front, and keep going through. You will
You wanna hear
lose a
what my-
bucket of sweat
You want to hear what
in those 8
You want to
minutes.
hear what my record is?
What is it?
38 and a half minutes.
Wow. That's
No.
impressive.
Seriously.
That's
Seriously?
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was in a competition with one other person, a woman. This was in Pilates class.
Wow.
That's impressive.
And when I was doing that, and I got up to 38 and a half minutes, and the rules were your knees can't ever touch the ground. You can't put your butt up in the air
That's cheating.
like
That's
downward
cheating. Yeah.
dog, right?
Yeah, that's cheating.
So I'm doing it, and the instructors say we're up to 38 minutes, and this woman next to me, and we're we're really into it, and the instructor says, "Your butt's too low," and I'm thinking, "So what? That's not." So I put my butt up, and she says, "You're disqualified."
No.
I'm
No.
not kidding. I think this was a setup.
Well,
It had to have been.
It was. The longest plank I've ever
I
had was
would have
like
gone
8
we
feet,
would have
I
both
think.
gone 40 minutes, looked at each other, and said,
Boom. Sorry, dad joke.
"Congratulations,
I got
it's
it.
been over." But no, that's my plank story. But
That's
anyway,
impressive, though, Richard.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
story.
awesome time.
Yeah, I've actually never tried to see how long I could keep going, but one time I just, finished the Kashmir Challenge, and then I went for another minute or so. But
Yeah.
I've never really pushed myself to see how long I could go. But that's a good idea.
Well,
Oh,
we
Chip,
like
that's
that.
a book, Kashmir Challenge.
did this in stages over a month, and every time it did a little bit longer, so it was fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, it's also important to remember what we were talking about earlier is if you don't, or if you aren't able to accomplish your goal every single day,
no
not to
days
beat
off.
yourself up.
That's right.
Right? Forgive
Absolutely.
yourself. I think it's way more important to forgive yourself first. You have to forgive yourself first before you can forgive other people. So if you don't, you're not able to plank for 38 minutes. You should forgive yourself about that. I know I've completely forgiven myself for not being able to do that.
Well, I think there's exceptions, like if you're sick or, you're
Well,
flying on a plane all day or
And here's
something
another
like that.
thing. In Buddhist thought, Thich Nhat Hanh talks about, we all have this, this drive to do things. Oh, something happening.
Yes.
He says, doing nothing is fine. Doing nothing is being. Just being is valuable.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, see,
I've
so
also-
that's what I noticed. Though. So when I was starting to, get into a rut of bad habits and not work out for 4 or 5 days, then I would feel bad. I'd have a sore back, tight legs,
Yes.
something.
Thank you.
And then I wasn't able to be so present. And
Yeah.
when you're, when you have some kind of back pain or some kind of soreness, it's hard to be as present and as loving and as
Grateful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
mind, body, spirit. You
Exactly.
have to treat your body like a quote unquote temple, for lack of a better word, right? You've got garbage in, garbage out.
it's a machine. You got to maintenance. it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
And,
like-
and the better you keep it, and the older you get, believe me, it doesn't get any easier.
Well, and I think that every day we should be making an impact. Every day we should be inspiring others. Every day we should be making people smile. Everywhere you go,
Yes.
you can make a new
Yes.
friend by just smiling and reaching out. And we just did a show on
Yeah.
on this miracle. This lady was brought into this beautiful world because a mentor saved her life. And I really think that just reaching out to somebody that might need that positivity can make the difference of somebody just having a
Well,
wonderful,
especially now that
beautiful
we're
life.
emerging out of COVID, and I know as a coach we are seeing a lot of anxiousness, a lot of anxiety of reentering the world, reentering work, having to work in a corporate office.
Yeah.
And so, your words are important there because that's the world right now needs a lighter tone. They need a lightness, a forgiveness of themselves, even to the extent of not being afraid of death. I mean, that's really what's been driving all this fear is people are afraid of death, and it's just
Which should be even more reason to go out and enjoy every single day
Exactly.
and take
No
no
days
days
off.
off of having fun,
Right.
no days off of making friends, no days off of
Yes.
being loving. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
No days
Yes.
off, and no days off of making an impact on this planet.
right.
Because it's there's only one planet. We have to all
yes.
contribute.
And apparently, it can
every
only
small
be
little
saved
task.
one
If
show at a
not,
time.
If not now,
I don't
when?
have to have a show every day, I guess.
If not now, when? If not you, who?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, what
Yeah.
what are the new goals that you guys have here at the show? Something new that you're going to do to make a difference to help this planet?
Well, right now I'm developing a system for my air conditioner to collect the condensation from my air conditioner to go into a gray water tank to water my garden.
Really?
Very cool.
Really?
You can get, especially like in July, August, you can get 5 to 15 gallons a day off of your air conditioning condenser. And then
Wow.
my next step is to put in
Wow.
about probably a 3,000 to 5,000 gallon tank that will collect rainwater off my roof.
Yeah.
And then because we're going into a drought, I mean, we're in a drought and we haven't felt it yet, but we're going to see some water restrictions if there's we don't get more and more rain. So I'm going to be proactive.
You know, that's illegal
Smart.
in some states.
It is.
To collect rainwater from your roof.
Why?
Yes, because they want it to go in the drain so they can turn around and sell it to you back
Yeah,
to you.
exactly.
Crazy.
Ah,
It's
interesting.
illegal in Oregon.
Yeah.
So just so
Right.
you
Which
know,
wouldn't
I went to
think.
Starbucks today and I asked for a large water when I was getting my coffee, and the nice
That'll
guy.
be $5, please.
No, no. But what the guy said is, I can only give you a small
Yeah.
because we're rationing water right now. And I said, really? So that's
Yeah.
good that they're doing that.
It's
They
a
are.
thing. It's definitely a thing. I mean, we were up at Lake Pleasant. I don't know 2-3 weeks ago on a boat, and it's 10 feet under when it was bad. Like
Yep.
Damn.
it's
When you go up
unbelievable.
to
how low
Powell,
it
it's
is.
really serious.
Yeah. So
so what are some
conservation
tips?
of water.
What can we all do? So Richard,
Well,
how
follow
can we-
Martin's footsteps and add the rainwater collector
Yeah.
and the air conditioner.
I got a
That's amazing.
275 gallon tote that's used. Nobody wanted it, and I'm just gonna I've already got it. So just
He's
now it's just doing
repurposing
the
it.
plumbing.
So
Yeah,
how do you
repurpose-
actually collect the water from your air conditioner?
So there's a
runoff?
drain plug,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I just connect a 1-inch PVC and just run it all the way to the corner of the house where this tank will sit, and it'll just feed it by
Otherwise,
gravity.
where does it go?
Otherwise, it just goes into the. It goes into.
Is there like a runoff pipe?
No, yeah, it's a runoff pipe. But it goes into
Sounds
our
like-
gutters. I know. It goes into our gutters and then just
Sounds like
into the
butter.
street.
Okay.
So it's just wasted.
So you-
Yeah, it's usually
you
just wastewater.
Yeah. Okay. Because there's a pipe coming out, and I could just collect that too.
Right.
So you also are gardening.
Oh, yeah, I
And if
have
you're
my-
watering something you're going to eat, that's also more sustainable.
Very.
Absolutely, and I'm also doing specific
Or something you're gonna
dry
smoke. No.
plants that are adapting or adapted to our harsh climate. So I have very small plants that I only water once a week, maybe once every other week, even when it's super hot, and just to train them to shoot deeper roots down and to be more resilient. And now as these grow older, they will have much more access to water because we've dry farmed them or trained them to
Yeah.
be a little bit more resilient. And I've got banana trees that'll have a little bit probably sweeter fruit because of that.
You got those blue bananas?
I do.
You do
Nice.
I do. I'm excited.
Dude.
Richard's coming over.
Okay, wait. Cheers.
I'll tell you, they did not like 117 at all. So
But
I had
did they
to-
make it?
I
Did
had to
they make it
build- They
through?
made it. I built a teepee for them to cover them and to keep them from the sunlight. So they're strong. I think I've got another 2 years before they'll actually start
Yeah.
producing fruit.
Yeah.
But
So
I've
can we
heard they're
recap?
amazing.
It'll be
Let's
worth
recap.
it. Yeah.
You're collecting the rainwater.
Yep, collecting rainwater,
You are gardening.
gardening, absolutely.
How else are you eco-friendly?
I also consult for an environmental chemical company that does environmentally safe cleaners for the military and heavy industry, and also for like the Department of Defense. And so that's.
And you're pretty much a vegetarian.
I call myself a choositarian because I do have meat
like it.
every once in a while, but it has to be really good. But
And
otherwise,
preferably grass-fed if it's beef.
yeah, right. And it just more natural, organic. It just, again, it's a garbage in, garbage out. I feel so much better now that I went to a more plant-based diet.
So when you
than
don't
I
eat
did,
red meat, you
because
feel
when I
better.
was in my 20s and 30s, that's all. I was a meat and potatoes boy. I was Midwest bred, So if it was green, I kind of moved
Corn-fed.
it. Yeah, I moved it to the side.
Push
when
it
I was
off,
younger.
yeah.
And now, now I'm in my 50s, and I eat like that, and I can feel it. And so, I eat healthy, and I get a food high. So I've just been kind of,
It's true. You do
wandering
feel
toward
better
that.
when you eat healthier.
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to stay as organic as possible too, and I notice a
has.
massive difference.
Oh, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
And
it-
less processed food, the more processed it is, the more chemical it has, the less obvious good is for you. It's
Yeah, it's crazy how many products have soy in it. Because I was like trying to avoid it, and
I
oh
stay
my
away from soy.
gosh,
Yeah.
it's next to impossible. It's in
Soy,
peanut butter, Oreos,
sugar.
Soy oil.
Soy
it's
oil.
a huge industry.
Yeah.
And soy
it's a
lecithin.
dirty industry. It's not a health food.
Oh, it's terrible for you. Oh yeah, they're finding it's bad for your hormones. So there's a lot of people that
Yes.
could have depression that is linked to ingesting too much soy, and they just don't even know it.
Only soy I eat is fermented.
And hopefully
Yes.
organic. Too.
I have been reading more and more about the benefits of fermenting your own vegetables.
Everything fermented
Yes,
is good.
we've been talking about trying it.
Yeah.
Well, I just got over. I had a dog scratch here on my arm, and it got infected, and so I had to take antibiotics.
That dog's never been back here, has it?
He was here in studio.
Okay, all right.
Anyhow, that was funny. I had to take antibiotics, and so my naturopath. Let's give a shout out to Dr. Liz Hogan,
Yeah.
because she was like right there calling me every day, concerned about me, and doing Zoom calls. Anyhow, she totally healed me. She said after you're done with the round of antibiotics, you have to correct your gut because your gut needs probiotics, and so she said you need to have lots of probiotics like sauerkraut and
None of those amateur biotics. Get the pro ones.
probiotics.
pros, yeah.
So kefir. I don't know if you guys know kefir.
Kefir.
I love kefir. 'cause
Sutherland?
You drink
Smoke all the kefir.
so kefir they sell at Trader Joe's.
I know
And
Keef.
Listen,
Smoke all of it.
Listen, let me-
kefir.
Yeah.
Kefir is so delicious. It's like a liquid yogurt,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh,
10
that
times the
sounds
probiotics.
yummy.
How do you
Most
explain it?
most
Ugh.
commercial kefirs are next to worthless.
Okay.
If you really want to do it, you get a culture and you make your own.
Yeah,
it's simple.
It's like
but,
bone broth. You got to.
You might be able to find a good organic one at Sprouts or
Yeah,
something.
I got I got
It's
the
better
organic
than
one
nothing.
that Dr. Liz
but
recommended.
you're right. You'd be better off making it yourself.
No,
for
I
sure.
feel so great
But-
after I drank what she told me to, and then sauerkraut. She said, try to eat as much sauerkraut as
any
you can.
fermented food,
'Cause
it's a miracle.
It puts your gut back
Really.
into, and people don't know
it
that
helps.
that's why Europeans eat so much sauerkraut, because it's completely low. It's low calorie. It's so low calorie. It's high vitamin C, tons of fiber, and it heals your
Well,
gut.
Oh, yeah?
look at Asians. Koreans eat kimchi,
Exactly.
fermented,
Completely.
totally.
Yes. It's like a sauerkraut. But
Well, and
yes.
it's a great way to store food. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just the benefits just multiply.
So no days off. We got to eat healthy. We got to exercise. We got to feed our mind, our body, our soul, and we got to save the planet.
One show at a
One
time.
show at a time. Saving the planet.
One
show at a time.
Can we have a song about that, please?
One show at a time.
All right, here we go.
One show at a time. One show at a time.
Saving the
Saving
planet.
the planet. One show at a time.
One show at a time.
Saving the planet. Saving the planet.
One show at a time. I say I'm saving the planet. Lord, I'm
One
saving
show at a
the
time.
planet. Show I'm saving the planet one more time. Well, Kinga goes out and she talks to some people, and then they come on to the show. And then we all learn something we never thought, and it was obviously something we need to know. Well, we're saving.
Planet, one show at a time.
Yes, we're saving the planet one show at a time. Oh,
Well,
Lord,
we're
we're saving the planet
one show at a time.
Saving the planet.
It's yours and it's mine.
Yeah.
Damn, we need a joint for this music. Damn.
Where's Snoop Dogg when you need him?
Probably smoking a joint.
Probably smoking a joint. Cheers. Oh, not so.
Break a glass. Jeez.
Breaking the glass.
Bumper cars in here. Come
Breaking
on.
glass.
Yeah. Well, that was awesome.
Consider this
Speaking
as-
of fermented, this wine.
The best fermentation of all.
So now I want to ask the guru, the love guru, love coach. We're talking about no days off. How important are our relationships to our health and wellness?
Well, they're obviously very important. However, you
Yes.
you
and
have to work on yourself before you can work on a relationship. And you can work on yourself while you're working on a relationship, but you still have to work on yourself. You just can't expect your partner to pull the load. You've got to continue to be educating yourself on relationships. None of us, I won't say none of us, a lot of us didn't get great marital advice and relationship advice from our parents because our parents.
We have
Chet's yawning on this.
No, that was just I guess because I've had a long week. No, this is a great topic. Let's keep pressing it.
Yeah. I mean,
we haven't had good role models.
Right, we don't.
And when you look in society and the culture in general, there are very few good role models.
Exactly.
Right?
The true path is finding yourself, and once you find yourself, that partner that you are aspiring to will show up. But you have to be the person that person is attracted to. You can't be this negative or whatever it is that you are that's not
The victim.
It's your authentic self.
Right.
And blaming others. You can't blame others.
And that's a journey that, unfortunately, is very difficult to do by yourself. I tried it for about 40 some odd years, and it sucked until I found coaches, mentors.
Because when you have anger, you're hurting yourself.
Absolutely. If you have anger, and so many of us are carrying trauma from when we were younger, all of us.
How do we release that?
That's a whole show.
We'll
there's
do a
so
whole
many
show on
ways,
that. Releasing trauma.
but
Okay.
I just a few glossing over it, if you will. Yoga is amazing to do to release a lot of this body trauma because the trauma is actually held in the body.
Yep.
There's an amazing book that I'm going to just now blank on. The Body Bears the Burden. Phenomenal book about how your body holds on
I'll
to
read
trauma.
that.
I can
Body
relate to
bears
this too because there's something about yoga when you are just following each instruction from whoever's teaching the class or whatever, you just get in like a meditative zone and you're just only thinking about each pose, and that's just so good for taking you away from your problems.
Oh, absolutely, and it also teaches. It's a discipline. Teaching your mind to quiet down. There's a lot of us have this voice, this voice inside of our head that just continually talks and judges and argues with itself and tells you what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And that voice, for whatever reason in our society, for a lot of people is very, very loud, and it's very difficult for them to step back from that. And so they're just going. And 50 years goes by, and they're wondering what the hell happened to me. Or 20 years goes by, and,
And
what
they
the
keep
heck just happened?
repeating the same
mistakes.
scenarios and mistakes over and over again.
Exactly.
And wondering why.
Right. And so the people who are searching, the people who read, who nourish not only their minds or their bodies, but their minds, and those are the people who are on the path to find, and it's an internal path. I mean, you can break down. This is not about religion. This is just about all of our own personal paths, and you can break spirituality down into finding out what your own spirit is about. And I would argue that it's this. You've got this. What we call the operating ego. It's this ego that it's like a bunch of subroutines or an app that's inside your mind that are just saying these different things. Then you've got the observing ego, which is the process of observing all of those and making a decision. And then there's just this something right behind it, the soul, what they call the infinite observer.
Yep.
There's just that another level that we all have access to, but you gotta quiet, you gotta slow down, you gotta stop for a minute to access that, and become in the flow, whether it's making music, whether it's making wine, whatever it is that gets you into that flow. But once you slow down and you get into that flow, then you start attracting other people that are in that flow, and then you have these relationships. And these, I think, when you become in an aware relationship, it's a very different relationship than an egoic relationship. That's why we have so many divorces and issues with relationships in this country, is because of this egoic self who makes up stuff, makes up stories about things that happen, and all of a sudden you're mad at this other person because of something they didn't do, right? And that happens all the time.
Okay, I don't understand that. What are you really saying right there?
What I'm saying is that there have been many times in all of our lives where we have seen a situation and we've made up a story about the situation that we believe is true, and it has caused us to make decisions and act in an emotional way, and then later we found out that none of it was true.
Like somebody doesn't say hi to you at a party, and you're like, "Oh, they must not like me," but in reality, they just didn't even see you.
Yes,
that kind of a
they
thing.
were high.
Okay.
Really high,
right? And so
having some visuals,
and so it becomes a much more graceful and aware way to approach the world when you know that those thoughts are not true, and once you can, and this is a lot of work. You can't. This just doesn't happen.
In fact, the whole story that you've told yourself and have been told since you were born ain't true.
Yes. Heck, the stuff I learned in chemistry class in the 80s isn't true anymore. Like, it's one of the great stories that I like is there's what you know that you know, there's what you know that you don't know, and there's what you don't know that you don't know. And it's argued pretty heavily that what you don't know is far larger than the other two categories.
The biggest piece of the pie, yes.
Right. And as I get older and more experienced and more educated in coaching and helping other people, I'm realizing that what I thought I knew, what I knew that I knew, I didn't know. And so now I'm open to this world of what I don't know. And I'm not worried about it. I'm not anxious about it. The world just unfolds in front of me. I have wonderful times. If I can show up, I can. If I can, I can. And it works out great. But it takes constant effort on myself to maintain that. It's not just an easy thing.
It's called presence, and it opens up the world to infinite possibilities.
It does.
And sometimes where I'll notice this concept happening, sometimes you'll see a person and you'll be like thinking, or you have to catch yourself. You'll be like, my perception of them, I'm like, oh, they don't even look like they're cool. But I'm like, I haven't even talked to them yet. And you have to just throw that perception out the window and go talk to them. They might be the nicest person. They just wore something funky today.
Right. And
So-
our egos are trying to protect us. It's not that they're bad. A lot of
It's a survival instinct type of thing.
It is a survival instinct. And your ego is there to protect you against threats, real or perceived. And unfortunately, it's the perceived threats that most of us stumble upon because we once we think something is real, it becomes real.
Well, and it's because we don't really have that many threats in our environment anymore.
Yes.
So our brain is programmed for hundreds of thousands of years to have threats all the time, and now they went away. So now our brain imagines these things. And you have to.
All childhood trauma is based on not feeling safe.
Absolutely. I'm not safe. I'm not loved. I'm not good enough. Those are the three, what we call the pillars of the ego. Yeah. And what I call the pillars of awareness are I'm always safe, I'm always loved, and I'm always good enough. So
let's all say that. I am always safe.
I am always loved, and I am always good enough. If you can operate
by gosh,
from that,
people like me.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny, but because it's a cliche, because we're all trying to remember that in every moment, and every time we can remind each other, help each other, because it's not easy. I mean, I had lost my mind because FedEx didn't deliver a really important package on time the other day, and here I am trying to teach awareness and be keeping your cool, and I'm like, right, and it
Should have
happens.
used UPS.
Right, but I also started to laugh at myself and realize the ridiculousness of what was going on, and was able to use the tools that we teach to have a wonderful rest of my day. Whereas 10 years ago, that would have ruined my day. Mm-hmm. I would have been in just a crappy mood until I went to bed. Mm-hmm. And
so I have a question for you. So if you have that one person in your family that sometimes is causing a little stress for everybody, and that's just, you can't change them, but you do love them and they're part of your family.
Yeah.
And you want to keep forgiving, and you want to keep getting along. Do you have any tips for that? Because it is what it is.
Absolutely.
You can't change it.
It's honestly, it's where you're at, right? I know there's certain family members that in my life that I loved and I still love, and I appreciate who they are, but they didn't really resonate with who I was becoming and the path that I was on.
So you had to get away from them to stay who you wanted to be.
Absolutely.
And to achieve your highest goals.
100%.
100%. I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people need to realize is when there's somebody that is just basically like pulling you down and they're just selfish and they just don't even.
There's so many
just
narcissistic soul suckers out there that are really good at what they do.
Yeah, and you need
Really
to
good.
distance yourself from
You can
those type of
empathize
people.
with them, but
Yes.
step back too.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you can forgive them and pity them and feel sorry for them that
But
they
don't
have that
feel sorry
existence.
for 'em.
You
I
don't
don't
forget
pity
who they are, though. You can forgive, but you don't
I feel bad for
forget.
people that are so selfish that they don't have the realization that making other people happy and giving is the best thing about life. I feel bad for those people that it's just take 24/7. I feel bad for them because my favorite thing is
But
being
it's
generous
the American way.
and loving.
I love America. I disagree. I love America.
Well, America in general, amazing.
Amazing. Love
Right.
America.
There is some greed here that isn't in other places.
There
And
is,
You do
and
have to
there-
call it out.
But hold on. If Chet is okay, so you're the coach, you're the
Yeah.
love coach, you're the relationship coach. If Chet is not feeling love for this person that maybe is angering him, that's not healthy for him. So
No,
what should he do?
No, it's not feeling love. It's distancing yourself and acceptance that this person and I just don't work well together, and I wish them the best, and I'm gonna keep extreme distance from them and do my best.
Absolutely, and it doesn't mean that you're wrong, they're right. We're all energetic beings, and energy is all about frequency.
Yes.
Going back to music, and there's certain chords that go with other chords, and there's other chords that sound like shit,
Oh yeah,
and you don't play them.
you don't put them together. Yeah, not in the same song.
So again, I come from a very
Incredible analogy right there.
Thank you. I come from a very, it's selfish. You have to be selfish. You have to be greedy to be generous.
So
And
love yourself first?
You have to love yourself first before you can love another person in the true form of love. Most love right now is conditional love. I will love you if you cook dinner for me. I will love you if you take out the garbage every week. But if you don't, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Like, that's not love. Love is, hey, can you take out the garbage? I don't have time. Oh, sure, no problem. Hey, would you mind doing this? Yeah, no problem. There's a teamwork. There's a give and take. There's a camaraderie, right? Versus expectations.
Absolutely.
As soon as you start placing expectations on your love, that's when you're going to get into trouble.
That so makes sense. So basically, unconditional love, no days off, forgiveness,
Right. But
and save the planet.
right, unconditional love is kind of a
That's all
misnomer,
you gotta
though.
do. And the planet's saved.
Yes. Unconditional love is still, you have to have unconditional love for yourself before you can have unconditional love for somebody else, even if it's your kid. And so, again, that goes back to you have to put your own oxygen mask on before you put the screaming child's on, right? It still goes to unconditionally. Everybody who's out there who's listening, just take a moment, close your eyes, and imagine if you could live in a world with unconditional love, where you unconditionally loved everything that was happening to you every moment. You were grateful for every single moment of it. Just taste that for a second. Right? So, and it's doable. We can do it.
Cheers.
You got to work on it. Cheers. Sound like
So
Buddhist
homework.
monks. We're going to go,
Should we go to the song? One last song, and then we will.
yeah, one last song.
And then we'll give one last tip, and then we'll.
Yes.
Well, one thing I wanted to add on what Martin was saying about like self-love, I think that you'll start getting closer to it as you start, doing things that are more loving and more generous. You know what I mean? I feel like I run into people that you can tell they're kind of just like on this like merry-go-round of like self-loathing and self-hate, and then they continue to do things that are selfish and rude.
Right.
And it's just like this merry-go-round. Well, if you can stop that merry-go-round and do one nice thing for somebody, and how that makes you feel being loving, and that'll potentially reflect onto some self-love. And
Yes.
you could start on that merry-go-round of self-love and being generous and loving towards other people.
Wow,
love that.
Yeah.
that is incredible.
And-
That's a great quote, Chet.
And that brings up
Wow.
I'm so glad you said that, because
Wow.
that brings up a great tool that we use at Cognova, the coaching place that I work with, is that it's called COAL, COAL. That if you can approach any moment in a relationship with this other person, whether they're annoying you, whether they're that family member or friend that triggers you, or whether it's just a stranger in the street, if you can approach that with curiosity, openness, acceptance, and love,
Bingo.
you will be able to handle any situation that confronts you with grace, and it will turn your way.
Okay,
You won't
curiosity,
curiosity,
openness, acceptance,
and
and love.
Coal.
Cool.
And remember, everyone is in pain.
Everybody is, right?
Everyone's in pain emotionally.
Right.
Everyone you see, everyone you come across.
Everybody's going through something. Yeah, exactly.
And that's
true.
that's not our work. That's I apologize. I don't remember the author that talked about that particular type of that particular acronym. But it's so powerful that I just want to
good
share
one.
it with everybody.
It's a great one. yeah.
So
But you're
whoever
saying that-
wrote it, thank you.
But are you saying that we
Keep
need to put our
spreading that
happiness
wisdom.
first? Our happiness must
Well,
be
yeah,
first?
well, the thing is that if you're happy, if you're coming from a place of grace, right, and this person who is normally just an annoying SOB, right, but you're looking at them as, oh, they're annoying because they're in pain. They're annoying because they don't understand what they're doing. They're annoying because it's hitting something in me.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. Why am I annoyed? Oh, it's because when I was 12, some other person treated me that way and made me feel bad. And that's when this healing begins, where you're like, oh, wait a minute. The reason I'm annoyed is because of me, not them.
That's right.
That's the beginning of that
We're
compassionate
all reflections
passion.
of one another.
Exactly. We're all, what does Marie say? She says, we are all one united in difference.
I love it. Let's cut to a
Deep.
song, and then we'll do our closing, and here we go.
It's a great show.
What are we going to sing about?
There you go.
I don't know. Start playing. Something will come.
Feel the flow.
Well, we walk down the path of life, and we go through a little fun and strife, and we want something better for you and me. But we gotta think inside our minds and quiet all those crazy thoughts inside. It's 'cause we're all one indifference. That's what I see. One indifference, 'cause every one of us is energy. Yeah. So I guess that means that Chet equals MC squared.
MC squared.
And everything that he sees is relative to what he sees, even the speed of light. So says Einstein. So everything in his world is true. Everything that he thinks is right. And that's true for everybody, especially those who see the light.
See the light now.
See the light.
See the light now.
I'm not talking about a train.
It's
See
about
the light
love.
I'm not talking
and
about a magic
forgiveness.
book.
See the light now.
I'm talking
Love
about
and
you
forgiveness.
and me
See the
and
light.
her and she and they.
See the
Forgiveness.
light now.
Love and forgiveness.
I sing, we are one indifference.
Love yourself first.
That's what I see. We are one indifference, 'cause we're all made of energy.
Love yourself
That's
first.
energy equals mass times the speed of light as a constant squared. But we all know that can be messed up by these crazy young scientists who took the dare. 'Cause we're all one indifference.
Spread love.
Spread love everywhere you go, and you'll always see the happiness
Spread
and the
a
grace
smile.
that we're talking about.
Spread love.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Grace, love, and forgiveness. It's not everything, but it's a good start.
No days off. No days off. No days off.